Okay, I'm going to show you how to upload samples using Audiotool. And to get inside, I'm going to go ahead and just start a new project, but you can do this from an existing project. It does not matter. One thing I do want to say, I really like this about Audiotool, is if this is the first time you are uploading any samples, and I have created a dummy account that is a brand new account just to take you through this process. But Audiotool will make you take a copyright quiz before you upload any samples, and I actually really like that about Audiotool. I think that everyone needs to be educated on copyright and how it works. I think a lot of us know that you can copyright songs and pictures and videos, but I think a lot of us don't really realize like what that means. And you can actually, in addition to copyrighting songs, you can actually copyright anything you record. So that could be sound effects, sound design things, your voice, even this video. And so if something is copyrighted, then that means that you can't use it without proper permissions. And it is actually against the law to just upload any samples or sounds that you get from other sources that are copyrighted. And my general rule of thumb is if you're not sure if something's copyrighted or not, assume that it is, because it probably is, especially if it's from a professional source. And then, of course, you shouldn't be using it if you don't understand what that means and what obligations you would have for that. So anyway, let's get into this, and I'm going to show you kind of some of these steps that you need to go through to upload some sounds using Audiotool. If you have uploaded sounds before in Audiotool and you just need a quick refresher, you can go ahead and skip ahead about 3 to 5 minutes in this video, and that'll be after I take the copyright quiz and then we get into actual uploading the sounds. So I'm going to go over here to the upper left hand side where it says project, and all the way down at the bottom it says sample upload, and I'm going to choose upload sample. And if this is your first time uploading samples, like I say, it will say you did not yet agree to our sample upload terms and conditions. We will ask for this right before you upload your samples into the Audiotool cloud. So let's click understood. And it's going to open up this other platform. This is called Probe. And we've got a few different options when you first open up. This is the sample editor. It says, welcome to Probe, a fast feature-packed sample editor by Audiotool.com. It supports importing WAV, IF, MP3, and OGG format or recording from your microphone. Probe provides a bunch of effects and modifiers to edit your audio. You can upload your sample into Audiotool Cloud and return to Audiotool. So here are your options. You can go to an empty session. You can record something. This would be what you'd select if you're going to use just the mic built into your laptop, or if you've got a microphone that's hooked up to your computer somehow, you can record samples straight into this platform, which I'll do in a minute. And then if you've got the samples already on your computer, if you downloaded them from a copyright-free source, or it's something that you've already created, then you'll want to choose this selection. I'm going to start here by clicking on Browse. And this will let me look through all the files on my computer and find a sound file that I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop. I've created a download here that I'm going to use. And there's two things that I wanted to point out here. I've got two different sounds that I downloaded from freesound.org. One of them is a .wav file, and you'll see that that one's darkened in, so that means I can use that file. The other one is a .flac, a FLAC file. And this is a really common audio file format, but Probe does not support that audio format. So if you see any audio files that are in this light gray, then that means that it's in a format that Probe does not work with. And so you'll need to choose a different sound or download it using a different format if you've got any sounds that are light grayed out with that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this sleigh bells thing that I've got downloaded here. I'm going to hit open. And that'll bring the sound file into our screen here. So you can see this sample up top. You've got the time code here. It goes all the way out to about 50 seconds long. You can see where it's quiet, where it's loud. If I push play, then we can listen to the sound. It's just some sleigh bells. And one thing I do want to point out is that the tracker here that goes across as it's playing is not synced up with the audio that you hear. It's generally a little bit behind, so just kind of keep that in mind as you're doing editing and things in here, that the visual tracking is not synced up with the audio, and that can throw you off if you're expecting it to be. Hopefully they're working on that, but there is just a limitation with working through the internet and having the sound be in a different place and having that sync up visually. It's actually a very tricky thing to do, and I'm under the impression that it's darn near impossible with the technology we have right now, but hopefully we'll get there someday. Anyway, you can see there's some keyboard shortcuts right here if you want to do some different things. I'm just going to go into some basic editing, kind of avoid the really heavy-duty stuff. The first thing is to know that you cannot upload a sound that's longer than 30 seconds, and that's a good thing to note. So this sound in general is too long to upload the whole thing, and so you may need to just select a certain section to upload. And maybe if you recorded it yourself, there might only be a certain section you want to upload anyway. When you hit record and then when the sound is actually made, might be a few seconds. And so this is where you can kind of trim your selection. Just click and drag, and that will be the section that gets uploaded if you choose to upload the selected section. So I'm going to go ahead and just select a pretty narrow range right here. And then if you go up top, there's some effects that you can try. And I'm not going to go into all of these, but we could do a fade in. And you can see that in my selection, what that did was it took down the volume at the beginning so the sound fades in. You could also do a fade out. And you can see now my sound just fades in from 0, goes loud, and then goes back out. That drastically altered the sound. Let's play it. Alright, that's generally a lot more useful too if I'm using a short clip like that, to have kind of those quick fade in and fade outs. But I'm going to go ahead and Command Z. It works just like anywhere else where that's an undo. We've got invert, which isn't going to do a lot in this case. That's basically like anywhere where the sound wave went up, it's now going to go down. That's basically going to sound the same. Not going to make that big of a difference. If you listen carefully, you might notice a difference. Normalize, this is a good one to know about. Normalize will automatically make any volume adjustments so that it is as loud as it can possibly be without clipping. And this one, you might have noticed it just barely moved just a little bit because this was already quite loud. And if we went too much louder, then it would just start clipping. But normalize will automatically select. If I select this section like right here where it's quite a bit quieter and I do that normalize effect, you'll see that it did quite a big adjustment there. So it'll kind of automatically adjust the volume to be as loud as it can be without clipping, which is useful. Go back to my original selection right here. You can amplify, which will be turning it up. There's a graphic EQ, which is really good for sound shaping. So you could turn up the low or mids just clicking on these dots. You can make some EQ adjustments to it. I'm going to hit cancel. The bad thing about this, by the way, is that you do have to actually apply it before you can hear what it sounds like. And that's kind of hard. If you apply an EQ and then you decide like, ooh, I don't like that, then you, again, just push Command Z and it will undo it. And then finally there's a reverse that I think is pretty cool, which will play the sample backwards. Probably not going to notice that too much on sleigh bells because they sound pretty much the same forward and backwards. But if you're talking or doing a sound that's drastically different on the in and out, then that can be a cool thing that you can do. Anyway, you can change up your sound how you want. So like I say, select different parts, manipulate it in some way. When you're ready to upload it, you go to File. You can either upload the whole sound if you want to upload the whole thing, or upload selection. Okay, so here's our copyright test, as I told you about. So I'm going to upload this, and it says, wait a minute, you haven't yet done the copyrights. And it says a couple things here. Do not upload samples from other artists, sample CDs, or online libraries. Issued samples will be removed, and your upload privileges will be revoked. So don't do it. Go ahead and click OK. And if this is your first time doing this, we'll need to make sure you're disabled your pop-up blocker, because this is going to open up a new tab here. And you're going to need to read all these. What are their terms and conditions for samples, and what samples can I upload, and what samples can you not upload? And of course, you're going to just get out of the bottom and click on that, but do read it because they're going to quiz you in just a minute. So read that before you click on I understand, and then click start. And then here's the quiz. So, can I upload samples from my Michael Jackson CD? Sure, I mean, he's dead, right? No, it's copyrighted material. No Michael Jackson samples. But it's only 3 seconds long. Okay, that won't hurt, Michael. Nope, still can't do it. It's still copyrighted. Can I upload copyrighted material but alter it in a way that can no longer be identified in my track? Yes, who will ever notice? No. But all the big names in business use samples. But they spend lots of money for the sample clearance. And this is true. If you use someone else's samples, you have to pay money legally. And you don't want to do that for this assignment. Can I upload a sample from a sample pack that I own? Actually, no, you can't. Even if you owned the sample pack, a lot of those sample packs have agreements in them that says, you can use the sample for whatever you want, but you can't upload it to another sample library. Can you upload your own vocals? Yes. And yes, I can sing, I promise. Or yes, but I understand that Audiotool can be held responsible for angry neighbors and roommates. Either one of these is going to be fine. I'm going to choose the bottom one. Can I upload sounds of my dog barking? Yes, as long as animal rights are respected. Yes, but a separate account for each pet is required. Either one. Can I upload a fully fledged mix down of a track I did from another DAW? No, I understand the Audiotool is not another hosting platform. This is actually the correct answer here. Even though you did all of the sounds, they just don't want you uploading already complete songs. They want you to use Audiotool to make the songs, right? If I violate these rules, SWAT teams will immediately arrive at my door. No, but my sample upload privileges could be revoked. So that's that one. And yay, we're ready to go. So now you can go ahead and go. At this point, you can upload your samples. Go ahead and close this. And you can see that on this screen now, you can change the name of this sample. This is going to be Sleigh Bells. And a couple things, you can describe it. You can tag it if you want. That helps for search engines. If you're ever searching for the sound later, I think it's really good to put some tags in there. And then what type of sound? That's really critical. This is a one-shot. So when I play it, I just want it to play once. If you loop it, you'll need to know what tempo it's recorded in, and then it will, hopefully loop seamlessly that way. But most of the things we're going to be doing is going to be a one-shot sample where it just plays the sample once. And finally, the license. By default, it's going to be Creative Commons, which, again, just as anybody can download and use it in any of their projects for any reason. You can decide if it's visible to all users or just you. And then it'll put your name as the uploader. Let's go ahead and upload this sound. Oh, sample must have at least one tag, of course. Let's call it Sleigh Bells. Okay, so it's got one tag. Let's upload it. Cool, it's been successfully uploaded. So how to check if your samples have been uploaded. If you go back to your project and go to Samples, and if you click on My, it may not pop up right away. You may need to close out and kind of re-go into your studio. It takes a minute for these things to show up sometimes, so don't panic if it doesn't show up right away. I personally have had it take even up to a few hours before, so don't panic right away, but hopefully it does show up relatively soon. Make sure that we're doing all samples. There it is. There's my Sleigh Bells. Cool. There it is. Okay. So it might have not been showing up earlier because I had the loop thing. And remember, this is a one-shot sound, so it's only going to show up under those. So cool. Now that it's a uploaded sound, we can drag it and use it in any way that we did any of the other samples before. So hopefully that's useful for you. for this assignment, you're going to need to upload several sounds, so you'll have to go through this process a few times. So when you're done with one sound, if you just go to File and either choose, if it's already recorded, go to Browse, or if it's not yet recorded, go to Record. Let's